And now, to explain about the growth opportunities available in the digital community, we have with us a digital entrepreneur, professional speaker, author of 6 books, professor of digital marketing, and a podcaster. I'm talking about the CEO of Business Blogging, a social media consulting firm, Mr. Kiruba Shankar. He is the recipient of the Digital Entrepreneur of the Year Award from India Innovation Forum. Mr. Kiruba co-founded the Professional Speakers Association of India under the aegis of the Global Speakers Federation. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Kiruba Shankar.
Check. On a beautiful early morning, there was this accountant who was walking on the beach at Maldives. And as he was walking, he noticed there was something glistening in the sand. So he walks up towards this particular object that was shining. He bends over and picks up, and to his surprise, it's an old antique lamp, a brass lamp. So he starts to rub off the sand, the beach sand off the lamp, and as he's dusting it off, out billows a smoke from this brass lamp, and poof, and there's this magic genie that appears. Emblazoned in a beautiful jacket, in a turban, twirling mustache, he folds his hands and says, "Master, I'm your slave. Your wish is my command. Tell me whatever you want, and I will bring it to life." Now, this accountant is a very nice man. He thinks, and then he looks at the trouble that Maldivians go through traveling from one island to another island. So he turns to the magic genie. "Could you make an undersea tunnel that connects all the islands so it becomes easy for people to just travel across?" Now this genie is aghast, and he bends over to his master. "Master, do you know how much cement, iron, and manpower it will take to do that? Can you please be a little considerate?" And the accountant says, "That's a fair point." And he says, "You know what? I'm actually attending the Maldivians Accountants Forum. There are some about 200 plus smart accountants and auditors who are going to be coming to the hall. And I want each one of them to become awesomely great at imbibing digital technologies to take on the future." And the magic genie, stunned silence for 5 seconds, and he bends over to his master, and "Master, about that undersea tunnel, do you want 4 lanes or 8 lanes?" Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Kiruba Shankar. I'm a digital entrepreneur. I'm a professor of digital marketing. But above all, I'm a super passionate believer in communities. So kudos to CA Maldives for bringing all of you together. And special appreciation to each one of you. My God, really, what is wrong with each one of you? This is day 2 of a conference. You've been sitting in this chair since the whole day, and it was an yesterday full day. So give yourself a round of applause for staying on. I mean, I think one of the tenements of a great leader is really the ability to sit and to learn. So kudos to you for doing that. So over the next 25 minutes, my role is to really talk about why, as accountants and as auditors, it is important for each one of you to truly embrace digital, because clearly digital is the future. When was the last time you went to a post office and bought a stamp to send a letter? When was the last time you went to a ticket agent to book your flight? When was the last time you even walked into a movie theater? So clearly the world is moving really fast, and the sooner you grasp on, the better it is. So my presentation is actually tuned towards each one of you as an individual. In the future, I'm guessing you will obviously grow in your career. You have plans of starting your own accounting firm, your own audit firm. You might want to start your own independent practice. So the following strategies are meant for each one of you. So open your mind up and let's take it one. I have a set of strategies and I want to explain them to you. And most of these strategies are actually are gotten from different other fields, and I'm going to weave them into short stories, and so here it goes. The first one. Today morning, I went to Google and typed in top accountants in Maldives. Your front page of Google has 10 results. I found none. I go to page 2, I found none. Page 3, page 4, page 5. On the 7th page, which is 70 results later, I finally find one accountant who has a website of his own. Now, imagine if you were, the first thing is, while you may be accountants in large firms, in resorts, in the government, you shouldn't forget that you are your own brand. As an accountant, it's important for you to own that up. You're the CEO of your own brand. And it's important for you to be visible and to be seen. And I didn't see that when I did the Googling. I think it's a very powerful lesson. So my advice to you is, maybe if not now, but soon, if you have ambitions of starting your own firm or doing a practice on the side, one of the important things is to have a website. Please, do yourself a favor. And here are some of the things that I've found in really good websites. First one is, it has a descriptive heading that defines who you are. What is your specialization? It has a really good call to action. I love the fact that the lady who was MC, good job on you. You came here, you asked a question, how many people have cats? How many people of you have Office 365? And she very smartly slid into how many of you are members. And if you're not a member, here is how you become a member. Wasn't that awesome? Give her a round of applause. I don't know. I think that was an awesome thing. So the same thing your website should also do, because as an entrepreneur, you want to source business. You want business coming. You want people reaching out to you. Your site should also have a social proof. A social proof is when others vie for you, whether it's great testimonial or how many clients have you serviced. And that needs to come out. If you won awards, then put that up. Why should someone come to you for professional advice? Why should someone come and hire you? It's something that's very important. And finally, this is such a the statement. It's so obvious. Make it super easy for people to reach out. I think those are things. So I told you about this one person. In the 70 results, this is the person that's come. So Naeem and Jinan, I don't know if you're in the hall, but kudos to you. But I think we should all take inspiration from this and really go on. It's not a great site, but at least has a presence. So strategy number 1 is you ought to have, even if you're working in an organization, at least your own personal website, you need to have one. That's super important for you to do. My second strategy. If you were to go and buy a book, which site would you go to? You go to Barnes & Nobles, you go to an Amazon, or you go to any other site that deals with books. Why? Because that's a bookstore, but more importantly, the entire collection is there, and you get to see which one. Those ratings and reviews make a big difference in you making that decision, right? Because when you're spending your hard-earned rufiya, you want to make sure that you put it on a book that really benefits you. If you were to go to another country and you want to stay in an Airbnb, in a homestay, what would you do? Makes logical sense. You go to Airbnb, but you would also see how many reviews and ratings that place has gotten, and then you would go and pick. What if someone were to look out for a really awesome accountant to hire, either as an employee or as a professional hiring? Is there a place there? And that's why it's super important for you to be at any kind of place. So for example, CA Maldives has a directory, and here are all the institutes. And then, much to my surprise, not a single accountant on the CA Maldives website even bothered to upload a photo. Imagine if all of us turned up to this conference with a mask completely hiding our face and sitting for 2 days. Would you do that? You wouldn't. You would invest in a tie, a coat, because you want to be seen, presentable. But why is it that we are behaving completely different in the online world? Right? This is super important. So for those of you who are already members of CA Maldives, I think this is a corrective action. And for those of you who not become a member of CA Maldives, take my word for it, it's worth every single rupiah, and you will be doing yourself a favor by joining a community, right? And also for Mira, for auditors. So I went in, I saw big companies out there, but there's just 9 auditors, individual auditors, that's it. Are you telling me in whole of Maldives, there are just 9 auditors? It can't be, right? So that's also another one. The first thing is to be seen. You know, I was having lunch today with Afif, and one of the things that he was talking about is, if you want to really grow, you first have to be seen. If you're not even seen, then do you even exist, right? So that's an important lesson that I wanted to share with you. So pay attention to where your potential customers will find you and be present, right? So that's strategy number 2. My strategy number 3, if I go to Google and type in the best resorts in Maldives, and how many? There are hundreds of them. This is what Google does. Google throws up a result. But do you notice something very interesting there? What do you notice? Take a good hard look at the screen and tell me, what do you find? Who decides who's the best resorts in the world? Google? Not really. But if you notice very carefully, each one of those, they have found their way to the top of Google's search results by paying. They've invested in ads, and they've gone in. And we all use Google, and typically there are 2 layers, right? The first one are paid ads that come up to the top, and people fight with each other in who pays more to be listed on top. But after the ads, 3-4 ads are coming, and that's the organic search results, right? What Google thinks is the right thing to do, what people choose the right one, and they put it up. So there's paid ads at the top, and there's organic results at the bottom. The best optimum one is where you don't have to pay a single rupiah, but you can still be on the front page of Google because it's worth its weight in gold. But it's a super difficult one for you to be present out there. And hence, what's a shortcut? You pay money, it comes to the top. Here's another example. If I go to Google and type in, which is the best diving operator in Maldives, this is the search result. This is an example of what I told you. The first one is an ad, and then the bottom one is organic search result that Google thinks is the best diving resort, right? There is an ad. Now let's come to where it really matters. If I go to Google and type in the best accountants in Maldives, watch the screen very carefully and tell me, what do you find? Do you notice? There are just absolutely no ads at all, right? Which means it is such a beautiful sitting duck that if you want exposure, if you want people to reach out to you, because nobody is competing for this particular keyword, which is an awesome keyword, best accountants in Maldives, you could bypass all of it and you can be right on top, right? So that's an opportunity for you to take care of, especially if you're organizations. This is something that you really want to take advantage of. You can beat KPMG Maldives, imagine that. So my third strategy is this, which is learn about Google ads and Facebook ads, because trust me, it'll pay you very rich dividends going forward. My fourth strategy. Marketing automation is something that you must invest to learn. It's going to change your entire life going forward. And let me give you an example. Imagine You walked into a TV store. You walk into a TV store, you're looking to buy a 55-inch TV, and you look at various brands, and then you forget, oh no, I better check with my wife because I don't want to take a big chance buying one without her approval. So you go back to your home, and as you go back to your home, you whip out your phone, you open up Facebook and you're seeing, and you will see TV ads. You go to YouTube to watch YouTube videos, and there pops up an advertisement for TV. You walk across the road, there's this digital billboard, and there is, just by when you're walking by, there is a TV ad that comes. Have you experienced this before? You go on Google for something online, and immediately you will start seeing relevant ads that are coming in. And that's part of marketing automation. So what you need to do is, this is an amazing strategy that works brilliantly. The first one is, your prospective clients, you need to attract them. You need to make sure that they are aware of you, your practice, your organization. And then you nurture them. So what does that mean? It means that you provide a lot of value, you don't sell. You don't sell. You know, they say, you go on a date, but it takes multiple dates before you ends up in marriage. So similarly, this is your customer, so you nurture. And then amongst your bouquet of prospects, you find certain people are better at conversions. And then you start doing the selling because they're convinced you're the right person. So the magic word is really marketing automation. My advice to you is spend some time sometime this week and learn about it, because it'll come in super, super handy, because it helps you in lead generation. It's great for conversions, and it helps save you time, and it gives you better insights that helps you to cross-sell. So the magic words are marketing automation. My fifth strategy is this. This guy is called Kalyan Verma. He was employee number 3 in Yahoo's research and development R&D unit. He was the head of information security for India, which is a pretty big deal. And he was one of the top info security professionals in India. But in the weekends, come Friday, 5 p.m., he will pack his cameras, he will head on to the jungles and go and do wildlife photography, because he lives and sleeps and breathes wildlife, and married with his passion for photography. And then he would come back on Monday morning, back to his regular 9-to-5 job. He would shoot tons of photographs, and every time he shoots his photographs, these are brilliant photographs, like awesomely great photographs. But what he would do is, he would never put his photographs online. He would always compress them into small size. He would put a copyright symbol that says copyright Kalyan Verma in ugly red text, because he doesn't want people to steal his photograph. After all, he's investing so much into his hobby. It's a very expensive hobby. And one day, he accidentally forgot to put a watermark on one photograph. It is this. And he uploaded it unknowingly in the highest resolution that he was able to take. He didn't even know about it. About 4 months later, he receives a check for about $1,200 from the Nature magazine. Nature magazine is arguably the most prestigious wildlife magazine in the world. They've used this particular one of 2 red ants. It's called fire ants. They mate, and then the female rips off the head of the male ant after copulation. And they were doing a cover story on this. They put this photograph on the cover of the magazine. And as a way of saying thank you, because the high-resolution photo was available online, they sent him a check. And that blew his mind. there's a very powerful lesson in this particular story. And that is, the more you share in the digital world, in the online world, that's the best way for you to build your credibility and your trust. Much later, he took this photograph of what's called a blue frog, which is the rarest frog in the world. National Geographic TV channel wanted to do a program on this particular frog. They found that Kalyan Verma had already shot this photo, so he would know where these frogs are. So they actually they hired him for a program that made him leave his job as an information security chief and moved on to full-time photography. This frog changed his life forever. He's now one of India's arguably the greatest wildlife photographer and videographer out there, right? So the point here is the more you open it up, and I want to take an example. You know, I've known Afif for a few years now, and one of the things that I've always seen is 2 days back he was in Addu to speak at a conference. Yesterday was a TV event that you went and spoke on television. He would write articles on blogs. He would go on podcast. So the more he talks about leadership, the more he talks about culture, the better he becomes as an authority on that subject. But interestingly, Lux, the organization that he works for, also benefits tremendously. So a lesson for each one of us out here is when you start to share your knowledge in the area of accounting or in auditing, the more you share, the better will be your own personal net worth and also your organizations. That's something for you to learn. So my strategy number, I don't know, is this number 5, is be a generous giver of knowledge, because that's the way to grow in the digital economy. My 6th strategy for you is this. This screenshot that you see is a screenshot that was taken from a CCTV camera of a subway railway station in Washington, D.C., the capital of the US. On a Friday morning at 8 a.m., there are people who are rushing by to catch their train. And if you notice on the left side of the screen, you will see a guy standing there with a violin and starts to play his music. He plays for 45 minutes, the best of Mozart, beautifully composed, and he plays for 45 minutes. At the end of 45 minutes, he gets arms. He's opened up the casket in which he has his violin. He places it on the ground. That's his begging bowl. And as people pass by, very few stop to listen. And for those who stopped, they would put $1 or $2. And he collected about a little over $8 at the end of 45 minutes. But that's not the story. Do you recognize this guy? I want you to look very closely. If you know this man, could you raise your hand and shout out his name? I'm not surprised none of you know this. If you were into classical music, you would know this immediately. I mean, he's Barack Obama of classical violinists. He's the world's richest violinist. The violin that he has is a Stradivarius violin that's over 400 years old, and it costs over $1 million. The insurance for his violin is higher than the life insurance he pays for himself. And here's the interesting part. Exactly 1 week after him playing the violin in the train station, he goes on to Boston to perform at a concert, and this is a concert. This hall was sold out 6 months before the day of his concert. Just the ticket collection alone is over $1 million just for that event. The cheapest ticket going for like $6,000 or so. And here's the interesting part. Same guy, his name is Joshua Bell. He used the same violin. He played the same Mozart music, not a single note different, and he played exactly for 45 minutes. 1 week before, at a railway station, he earns $8. 1 week later, over $1 million. Same guy, same violin, same music, same time. Is there a lesson for each one of us here? It's all about which place you need to be. The people who come to the railway station come here to catch a train. They are not here to see a homeless guy play violin. Whereas the people who came to this auditorium knew who Joshua Bell is. They have heard his music before. They know the value of hearing it from the legend himself. And that's worth the dollars they're willing to spend. So an important lesson out here is you need. So this particular story was actually from Washington Post, and it won the Pulitzer Prize, which is like the Oscars of journalism. So the lesson is, even if you're just an employee in an organization or a wannabe entrepreneur wanting to start your own accounting firm, auditing firm, each one of us in this hall, you need to invest in building your own brand. It's a very powerful, powerful one. I have 4 minutes left. So here's what, for those of you who's interested, I'm actually in the midst of authoring this book. This is my 8th book. It's on mastering the art of social selling. This is applicable to accountants. I'm not selling anything here. So I'm saying if you're interested, all you have to do is just go to kiruba.com/sales and put your email address, and whenever it gets published, I'll send you a free copy of the book as a token of appreciation for you taking the time out to come, and as a token of respect for you to come and stay for 2 full days at this conference. I want to say you've been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiruba. I kindly request CA Maldives member Muhammad Halim to present Mr. Kiruba Shankar with token of appreciation.